guys, this is a video of me teaching a beginner how to play Caves and Creatures. This is what I would consider an advanced beginner, someone who has played card games quite similar before that have similar mechanics, and someone who grasped the very basic concepts quite quickly. But this is still a fantastic example video that will have a lot of questions that are asked that most beginners will likely ask. So once you've joined the room, you can just take a seat and then we'll jump in. Tabletopia, fair warning, it does take a little bit of getting used to. But it's not too bad once you get the hang of it, but the first 10 minutes it does feel a little bit awkward. So what did you read up on the game so far? Not an awful lot, right?
Yeah, so I've kind of done a brief skim read of the rules on your website.
Yeah, it's Magic the Gathering on a chessboard. You'll pick it up in no time.
Rejuvenation, hexes and enchantments, shrines. I just kind of looked at it.
Yeah, it's a sort of game where you play 3 or 4 hands and it mostly just clicks. And then there's a few rules that have had to be a little bit complicated, but they're not as complicated as they initially seem. And I do want to try and simplify them at some point if I can. But due to the nature of the game, there are just a lot of things that need to be in place rule-wise.
I mean, look, man, after having played Yu-Gi-Oh!, I don't think...
Missing the timing, lol.
Fuck it.
That rule is awful. There's no such thing in this game. Nothing can miss timing. It's outright impossible.
Fuck it. Yeah. I love Yu-Gi-Oh!, don't get me wrong, but sometimes this goes crazy.
Me and my friend just play to an old banned list because we hate fucking modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It's awful in my opinion. Okay, welcome to the game board. So to move, you can either use WASD or you can just click on the board and drag a bit, and that will move your camera.
Oh yeah.
Here
we are. Loaded in. Nice.
Yeah. To interact with stuff, you can just use this card here to mess around real quick. You can right-click cards and it will give you some options.
Yeah.
F flips it over. E and Q rotate it, which you'll need to do sometimes because occasionally cards phase through the board. I have no idea why. I fixed it mostly, but it's not 100% perfect. If you press F on a dice, it will just bring it up to the next number, or if it's on 6, it will reset it to 1. So that's a way of helping to keep track of stuff. And then R rolls the dice. Nice and simple.
Hey, nice roll.
Nice and simple. So, I'll just explain the win condition of the game real quick. Caves have 30 health, and reducing cave health to 0 wins the game for the player who's still surviving.
They collapse, right?
Yeah.
If you take damage, you take chip damage.
Exactly, yeah. 25 health, you take 1 damage per turn, and at 20 health, you take 2 damage per turn. This makes cave health really matter. You can't just ignore life like you can in Yu-Gi-Oh! Then, because you'll bleed out. Whereas in Yu-Gi-Oh! You can sacrifice 7,999 life points for +2, and then you win the game. Which is stupid in my opinion. So I'll just use this creature as an example. This is a leader.
Wizard.
Yes. Epic pun. Leaders are indicated by the flag. You need leader on the board to play cards from your hand. So for example, if I've got this helpful counter magician, I have to pay 1 mana to place it 1 tile in any direction of my leader.
How do I read card effects?
So if you double click a card, it will bring it up on your screen very big.
Oh, okay. Right.
And then you can just read everything. Most stuff is non-repeatable. Passives are repeatable though, and they're typically quite clear when they're repeatable. So Wizard's ability, even though it doesn't say it's non-repeatable, it's not, because that's just a default rule of the game that creatures can't repeat abilities.
This is my leader, right?
No, this is a leader just here. These are explanation cards that will tell you about the types, what the decks do and what they are. So if you double click the insects, it'll tell you what they do. Insects are kind of a nasty, debuffing, scummy deck in a way. They have stuff that'll do global damage and they'll leech away at you, and they have really interesting abilities and such. So I would recommend, the only deck I absolutely 100% do not recommend for a first-time player is Demons, and that's because Demons were designed to be rule breakers and highly complicated. They are absolutely the worst choice by far for a beginner. Dinosaurs are the best choice for a beginner. followed probably swiftly by Sea Dwellers and Dragons, then probably birds, and then insects, maybe insects above birds, and then humans and demons are probably the hardest two. Humans, not because they're super complicated, but humans are very unique in that they are very weak, but there's many of them, so you can find yourself easily having 10 plus cards to move in a turn.
I think playing white magic. Well, seeing as Wizard called to me so much, I will play dinosaurs.
Okay, we'll do a dinosaur mirror match. It's a good way of learning the game. So let me just chuck the rest of these to the side. So you always grab your leader, you press F on the deck to flip it face down. You can double click a stack to drag it, so if I like click this once and move, I take one off the top, and if I double click it, then I can just move the whole thing, if you want to give that a little try. And I'll just get rid of these for you.
If I just click it once, do I draw?
No, you want to shuffle first. You right click and then it'll give you a shuffle option.
Okay, so like shuffle, draw. Oh, I see. So shuffle, and then yeah, shuffled. Nice.
Beautiful. So we'll put your deck over here first. So if you like pick up a card and you bring it towards the bottom of your screen, you'll get a little white glow, and then you put it into your hand.
Right. So that's draw one. Right. Okay.
Yeah, now it's in your hand. So you start the game with 4 cards.
Yeah. So draw 3 more.
So the main difference between player 1 and player 2 is player 1 gains 2 mana on their first turn rather than 3, and each player starts the game with 3, and player 2 draws 2 cards on their first turn. That seems heavily imbalanced towards player 2, but the way it works out essentially is that player 1 has +2 mana on the opponent in their turn, and the way that this makes it so that player 2 is +1 card on the opponent in their turn. So it's roughly balanced. Still playtesting that exactly, but it seems to be the most balanced way to do player 1 and player 2. So usually we'd roll a dice, and then you would look at your hand and decide if you want to go first or second. If you would like, I can play the first turn out, so you can see roughly how a turn is played.
Well, I don't mind. Why don't we just roll for it? Just.
Yeah, sure, okay, that's fine by me. So I've got a 1. Okay, well I'm gonna fucking lose that.
Is it?
Yeah, okay, so you can choose if you want to go first or second.
Alright.
So, some important things to note about creatures is every creature has 2 action points by default, including leaders. So, moving takes an action point, attacking takes an action point, and usually using an ability takes an action point. In Wiz's case, his ability specifically states, does not consume an action point. You can't move diagonally by default. That's not a thing you can do. So even though Wiz has 2 movement, you can't go diagonally twice. You have to go horizontally and vertically. And
right, so I can't, like, for example, I have to go and then next turn.
Exactly, yeah. And there are some cards that break that rule, but they always explain it on the card if they do so.
I don't know why, but the mechanic where machines can't go on oceans or they'll get destroyed, that just seems really interesting. That just jumped out at me.
Yeah, mechanical creatures are intrinsically overpowered, but they often have strong limitations, such as reduced movement, and of course always the issue of they can't go onto ocean. And there are many ways to instantly kill mechanicals, so you have to be very smart about placing them. And a mechanical creature can just as easily lose you the game as win you the game, because you can spend 5 mana on a mechanical creature, and your opponent flips up a 1 mana hex and instantly kills it, and then you're in a shit situation. But the thing is, you can always predict that 1 mana hex, because backs of cards are all public knowledge. So right now, at any time, obviously, Tabletopia doesn't really support this, but you can usually see the back of my hand at any time. So at any time, I'm happy to show you the back of my hand. So
right.
You know my hand is a 6 creature and 2/3 creatures and a 0 enchantment.
So when I hit flip, like, it flips multiple cards at a time?
You probably have multiple selected. You can unselect those.
Oh, I see. Oh. Okay, right. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
Tabletopia does take a bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
You'll... the hex I was talking about was called Terrain's Convulsion, so if I have a 1 mana hex, it's typically a good idea to not play a mechanical creature. One thing you'll likely notice about this game is there's very few to no duplicates. In the dinosaur deck, there is not a single card that is duplicated.
Okay.
So in my hand here, I'm happy to show you this. I have an Enchantment of Mana. I have 1 of this. I cannot draw another copy of this. I just have this 1 copy of Enchantment of Mana.
like in the entire deck.
Yep, exactly.
So is that like a system rule? Like you're only allowed one of each card in your deck?
Yes,
Or...
and a couple of the decks have insects and humans are the only two that have it. Have a couple of cards specifically that have multiple copies, and that's due to how the decks function. Humans have a card called. See if I can find her real quick. There we go. Humans have this card called Cave Woman, and she's too intrinsic to the deck to only have one copy of, because they need to refill their hand with creatures because they die so easy. They're all just like 1/1s or 2/2s and stuff like that. So this creature has to exist in multiple for them to work. So quick thing about combat is attacking is the last thing you can do with the creature. So if my leader attacks, I cannot then play cards from my hand. So once you attack, you are committed to that tile and you're stuck there. Except for demons, because demons are the rule breakers. The stats on the cards, in the top right is a mana cost. The first icon that's not a flag is always going to be the creature's type and movement. I'm always happy to explain what an icon means. I've not yet made a list of those, for which I apologise. Swords are attack power, obviously. Health is health, obviously. Armour is a bit unique in that it reduces incoming damage by its value, but not below 1. So again, if I get my helpful Cave Woman here, if my Cave Woman attacks your leader, even though you have 2 armour, you'll still take 1 damage.
Yeah, like chip damage, right?
Exactly, and that's because in games like Yu-Gi-Oh, it's very easy to have cards that are literally useless. They're meat shields, but
Like
no
walls.
cards are like that in this game.
Okay.
So that should be enough to just about get going with the game. Do you want a reminder? At any time, hang on, let me just grab these and chuck them over here for you. At any time, if you want to know what a terrain does, you can just check these helpful cards here and take a quick look. Circles of
Sorry, go on.
Circles of Power are probably the most complicated ones. You put a creature there, you build up counters, and then you sacrifice that creature and do damage to your opponent's cave equal to those counters. Caves have 2 armor, so they are a bit harder to attack with creatures, but obviously the collapse kind of offsets that a little bit. So, you won the roll. Would you like to go first or second?
Yeah, I'll go first. So,
Cool.
if I recall, I start with 2 mana.
2 additional mana on your first turn, so you start the game with 5, and you draw 1 card.
Okay.
Keep in mind you can play as many cards from your hand as you want in a turn, as long as you can pay the mana.
Okay. So let's draw a card. Let's see what I'm rolling with.
And take your time reading the cards. I'm a very, very patient guy.
Thanks. And does mana like carry over? Or does it
Yes.
reset?
Yes, saving up mana is very important to the game.
Right. Suddenly this card makes sense now.
So enchantments are the green ones, they typically help you rather than harm your opponent. Hexes are the red ones, they typically harm your opponent rather than help you. And blue stands for creature. And as for X costs, I can see you're drawing an X cost enchantment. It doesn't cost mana to put those onto the board face down, but you choose how much mana to spend on those when you activate them. And unless a card says otherwise, with the exception of shrines, you can activate hexes and enchantments in your opponent's turn. So this card here says it has to be used in my turn, and shrines also have to be used in your own turn.
Okay. So if I were to put a face down enchantment, where would I put it?
1 tile in any direction of your leader. And that's before or after movement, but not after attacking. Attacking is always the last action a creature takes.
When you say 1 tile, you mean like horizontal, vertical, not diagonal. Right?
Diagonal counts as well for casting.
Okay.
Usually with ranges, diagonals are counted as 2. For the purposes of casting, they are just 1 tile in any direction.
Well, without further ado, I will use 1 mana.
Uh-huh.
So if I rotate that. No.
You want to, if you can't reduce numbers by 1 on dice, and I don't know why they haven't changed that yet. So if you right click it, you've already got it. There you go. Yeah, you can just right click it and pick a number.
So and then I summon, I guess.
It's casting. You put cards face down. Summoning will say on a card if it's supposed to be summoned.
Okay.
Summoning is a little bit different, but it's not too important.
So if I want to cast, it needs to be face down.
Yes. Face down cards can move 1 tile, and they ignore terrain penalties. So Tundra and Desert damage creatures, but if your creature is face down, it won't be damaged. And Mechanicals can also bypass Ocean instant death that way. But the disadvantage is you can't flip them up after you move them.
So I guess I'll put this face down.
And you can immediately flip cards up and use them.
Right. So how would I put that card bot down? But
you would press
down.
F on it in your hand, and that would flip it over.
Okay, so if I just try that again, it's a bit done.
Yeah, I should have explained that. That's my fault, my mistake.
That's alright.
Card bot is a basically uncounterable card, though. This card is very good.
Right, so put that there. I've spent 1 mana. I've got 4 left.
And you can immediately start moving this up or whatever you want to do with it.
And I can move it while it's face down as well.
But 1 tile only.
Okay, so we'll play on and see what happens. And you said if I start attacking, then I've committed to that. But if I move card bot, can I then play more cards in my hand?
Yes. Every card has its own turn, so to speak. So you can play 5 other cards, move them all, and attack with them all, and then you can attack with your leader. It's just once you've attacked, that creature is stuck where it is.
And you also said that you can bypass the Ocean Mechanical if
that mechanical creature is face down, yes.
Oh, okay.
Because face down cards don't have specifications, and certain cards will check face down cards to see if they are hex, enchantment, or creature. Obviously, if a face down card is attacked, it will be flipped face up.
Okay. Well, fuck it. Sorry, can I swear or
It's not a problem. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not, as long as it's not outright offensive to someone, it's fine.
Let's flip that.
Yeah, you can flip it in your hand so I don't see it.
Yeah, I just made a mistake.
Yeah, that's fine.
But now you know why I asked the question.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I will, I guess, get rid of that dice and then make this 1 to 1. And so every card has, every creature, I guess, has 2 action points. Did you say?
That's correct.
But if they're face down, they can only move 1.
Yes, and actions are non-repeatable except for playing cards from your hand with leaders. So you can't move twice with your 2 action points. You can move and attack, or you can move and use your ability, or use your ability and attack, but you kind of have to pick between those usually.
Okay. So essentially, I could move this face down, move this face down.
Correct, yeah. You could play this card on this tile and bring it up. That's absolutely fine.
Ah, I see. Okay, that's interesting. Before I end my turn, I will play Enchantment of Mana.
If you play these 2, you can't play the Enchantment of Mana because you can't spend mana in any other way, summon or cast other cards in the same turn.
Of
So
course.
I'm perfectly happy for you to have these both in your hand and just take it back. I really don't mind. If you want to just go up to 8 mana instead and keep these in your hand.
No, what I'll do is I'll keep those cards out on the field.
Yeah, sure, that's fine by me. However you want to do it.
It's interesting, and I'll put this back.
Yeah, Enchantment of Mana is, especially turn 1, one of the best cards in the game. And that's why it's got this huge restriction on it.
So how do I put it back in my hand?
You bring it towards the bottom of your screen and it'll give a little glow. And then that indicates that it's going into your hand. There you go.
What does this do?
So we've both got an Enchantment of Mana turn 1. Dinosaurs have a mana issue sometimes, and getting turn 1 Enchantment of Mana is incredible.
Well, yeah, man, I'm not gonna deep it too hard. It's my first time playing. I'll play mana for cards.
Sure.
And I'll spend the 1 mana and draw 2.
Yes, the Pot of Greed that's not actually a free +1 because you have to spend mana.
Alright, so if I
And then this will get exiled. Graven Exiling is exactly the same as in Magic. There's absolutely no difference. It's the exact same thing.
Add these cards to my hand. And then I end my turn. Past turn, I guess.
Okie dokie. So I'll go up to 6 mana. And I'll draw 2 cards for turn 1. And my turn is going to be ultra simple. I'm literally just going to play Enchantment of Mana and move my leader 1 tile and pass. I don't have anything else to do.
Oh, so... Okay. Right.
So I'm going to have a 12 mana turn next turn, which is very scary.
Can move my leader.
So you start your turn by gaining 3 mana and drawing a card. So from here on, we'll both just gain 3 mana and draw 1 card at the start of our turn.
Draw 1 card.
So odds are your best play is probably to just play the enchantment of mana before we get into a position where we've both got to keep on playing creatures.
I was thinking that, yeah. I play... Hold on, not both ways. Play enchantment... Fuck's sake.
You'll get used to it. Tabletopia is a tiny bit awkward.
Yeah, play enchantment of mana, gain 3 mana.
Cool. And then this card is always exiled.
Make that 6.
So it probably won't come up, but in the event we deck out, your Graved Zone gets shuffled into your deck and becomes your deck, and then your cave starts taking 1 damage every turn. So that's how the game is forced to end, but you don't instantly lose. Because I hate that in Yu-Gi-Oh! You just instantly lose when you deck out.
Yeah, it also makes, like, fucking burn strategies, and I'm not a fan of burn strategies.
Burn doesn't exist in this game.
I hate stall even more, but anyway, that's not the point. And I can't cast mana in any other way. You cannot spend mana, summon or cast other cards the turn you activate this enchantment.
Yeah, so this card is like, it gives you a very, very powerful next turn, but this turn is very limited.
But I can move. So I'll move with Zard of the dinosaurs, 1 up, and then I'll move...
Fun fact, all the leaders' names are puns.
Yeah, I noticed the insect one. I'll move... Hold on. How do I read my card's effect without you seeing it?
Unfortunately, you just have to take it back into your hand and just read it that way. There's no support for looking at face-down cards like that with Tabletopia, which, in a perfect world, obviously that would be a thing, but I have to use this website, and unfortunately that's the best I got, but I'm happy for you to take stuff back and read it anytime.
I mean, like, obviously you already know what it is, so it's not a big deal. I was just curious, you know?
Yeah, and this card is basically uncounterable. Like, there's one card that really deals with it, and even then it's a rough card to just lose to a Cardbot. Cardbot's just really good.
1 up. 1 up.
Okie dokie.
Pass turn.
Okay, so I'll go up to 12 mana and draw my card. So I'm looking at a very big turn here. So I'm going to spend 3 mana on the Mystic Summoner, and I'll give you a chance to read that, as well as the empty husks that it creates.
You can spend 2 action... Hey, I like Vidal Tsukaima, a man of taste, I like it. You can spend 2 action points on it. Okay. It's got 3 action points?
They're 3 movement. That's movement,
3
not
movement.
action points.
Okay, right. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I will spend 2 action points to make an empty husk. These are literally just 1/1/1s. They are not very good, but this card can spawn these, up to 3 of them, but assuming you keep killing them, I can keep replacing them, so this is very good. So because this empty husk only has 1 action point, I can bring it here, but I can't attack you, because this now has 0 action points, so I'll mark that its turn is over.
Alright.
Next, I'm going to bring my leader here, and I'm going to spend 2 mana on a creature here, and now I'm going to use Wiz's ability to place a Dino Evolution counter on a creature.
I was going to ask what that does.
You will see. So I'll now reveal my Stegosaurus, and I'll give you a chance to read it. So a lot of the dinosaurs' unique thing is they evolve, because, you know, dinosaurs evolved over millions and millions of years, and Wiz is the chief of the dinosaurs, so he oversees their evolution. So he gives dinosaurs new evolutions. So Stegosaurus with 1 Dino Evolution counter gains an armor.
Okay.
And I'll just show you this in my hand. For example, if I play Triceratops and it gets 2 Dino Evolution counters, it gains 1 additional movement. So I'll flip up my Stegosaurus and I'll attack your Cardbot, which is this one. So the thing with Cardbot is it has Retaliate.
Yep.
So when it's attacked, you treat the combat as if both creatures are attacking simultaneously. Now, I do have armor and I am on Mountain, but you can't. Neither of those reduce incoming damage below 1, so I will definitely take the 1 damage.
Yeah, and then Cardbot will get graved.
And you will draw a card.
Nice.
Cardbot is very, very good.
Reminds me of Card Trooper.
It is. This card wasn't actually inspired by Card Trooper, but yeah, it is a lot like Card Trooper, actually. Next, you can... I think my Mystic Summon is quite safe. I think I'm actually just going to pass turn and see what you do here.
Okay, so I get 3.
Yep, and draw 1 card.
What's the button for the next?
F. F is the flip button. There you go.
Right, so 9 mana and you draw a card. Is it mana first, then card?
Order doesn't really matter in that regard.
Okay.
So this is now a good time to cover leaders. So if a leader takes lethal damage, it's not removed from the board permanently. Instead, it goes to one side, and you must repay that mana to revive the leader.
Right. And then it rejuvenates for a bit?
Yeah, it rejuvenates as soon as you can pay the mana for it.
So we'll get to that in a bit. I see, yeah, okay. So if I lose my leader, then I basically can't play any more cards because I need the leader.
Exactly. Losing your leader is a very big deal, so protecting it is important. But there are situations where it's actually a good thing for your leader to go down, because you might need it to defend the cave, and it does push whatever's in front of the cave backwards.
Oh, okay.
So it is situationally a good thing. It can be a good thing to tactically walk it over Tundra and just kill it sometimes.
Alright.
Very rarely, but...
So I can move and cast stuff, right?
You can, yes. But you...
So I'll move...
But once you
Wizard,
cast,
yeah.
you've ended your movement effectively. So if you move 1 tile and cast over here, for example, you can't then move to here.
Okay. So I'll move Wizard of the Dinosaurs. It's got movement of 2.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 action point to move him.
Mountain inhibits movement by 1, so you can't actually reach this mountain, because you'll move here, and you'll only have 1 movement left, so you won't actually be able to reach here.
What about, can I go for the ocean? Let's look at that.
You can go over Ocean, yeah. Ocean only really affects mechanicals intrinsically.
Cool. And then what we're rolling with.
So the dinosaurs' other thing is that their creatures are more powerful than average for their mana cost, but they can struggle to find creatures sometimes.
Yeah, I'm feeling that right now.
Really? No creatures?
Well, I have creatures, it's just what Yadamine is saying. I just don't have anything that can benefit from Wizard's effect.
That's unfortunate. Dinosaurs have a lot of generic creatures, because if you have too many dinosaurs, you have too many things to divide Dino Evolution counters between. So if you have a bunch of generic creatures, you can play 1 dinosaur, evolve it, and use generic creatures to act as a stopgap, so to speak. A very intentional design choice.
Okay, I'm going to cast Mechasaur.
Oof, that card was very broken at one point.
And I'm going to that, then I think that's 5. Right. I'm going to flip.
Didn't you start with 9 mana? You should be on 4 now, I believe.
Oh, sorry.
That's alright. This card has its own page in the nerf book. It was that busted.
I'll flip this card.
If you flip this up, you have to move it immediately. Because if you flipping counts as a part of movement, so if you flip it up, then that creature's movement is effectively over. So you do have to move it immediately if you want to use it.
Oh, so when I played it, it gets played face down, and then I have to flip it up before I can.
Yeah, so you play it face down, and it's completely fine to do whatever you want with it. You can even use it later if you want, but once you flip it, you kind of have to take its turn then.
Okay, so I'll flip it.
Yep.
F. And I think I've got 1 action point left.
Nope, you still got 2. You're still in the middle of your movement, effectively.
Alright, cool. I will move him up.
And presumably attack. By default, attacking is 1 tile horizontally or vertically, so you can definitely attack my Stegosaurus right now.
Right. Yeah, I will do.
So I'll take just the 1 damage, because I have 2 armor and I'm on mountain.
Yeah. Heal this creature for 1 HP. Turn.
If you're not going to put a Dino Evolution counter on anything else, you'll probably want to put a Dino Evolution counter on this with Wizard's ability.
I was going to say, yep, I'm going to place the Dino Evolution counter.
There you go, I'll get you an orange one for that.
I'll flip this
and
card.
I'll mark that this guy's turn is over.
Yep. Mechanical Fortress. It's immune to desert terrain. It's got an attack of 4. I will attack your empty husk.
And you'll just die. Ow.
And then if I move one of my Done. So attacking ends your like your movement, your action points, right? So
You still technically have your action points left over, so strictly speaking, this is what this Mechanical Fortress looks like right now.
yeah.
Doesn't really matter for the dinosaurs, but in a couple of other decks, they have stuff that like requires creatures to have action points, and action points refresh at the start of your turn. So sometimes this matters, but this doesn't matter for dinosaurs.
Okay, that's fine. 4 mana left. Ooh.
You can still move your leader as well, don't forget.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, I do have a 10 mana turn coming up, and my hand is very blue. My hand is currently this.
I can see the back of. I can see your hand. That's interesting.
Yeah, anytime I could also ask for your hand. It's not overly important for me because I'm quite experienced in the game, so I kind of know roughly what you're doing anyway. But anytime, you're more than welcome to see my hand. The backs of cards are always public knowledge. The only thing you can't do in regards to public knowledge is dig through the deck. You can't see like the next card of your deck. You can only see, you can't see like the next card. You can only see the top card. So you can see right now I'm drawing a 7 mana creature, but you don't know what's below that, and neither do I.
I'm gonna be spicy. I'm gonna play. Well, face down.
The Chamber of Mana.
And then flip it up. So make that 1.
Lovely. So every time an enchantment or hex is activated, you gain 1 mana, and that includes the cards I play. So if I play a hex or enchantment, you will also gain a mana.
Nice. And with that, I'll pass turn.
Do you want to do anything with your leader, or are you content with him being where he is?
He's done his job. He's put the counter there, so I'm gonna leave him there.
Okie dokie. So I don't know if you've done this deliberately, but you've actually positioned your stuff very nicely.
Yeah. So the reason I've left him there is because, if I recall, yeah, your wizard's 2 movement. So, like, if you want to attack mine, you're gonna have to chill next to my Mechasaur.
Yes, but also what you've done is you put him next to Void, which is impathable, so I can't attack you from multiple angles. And you've positioned your Mechasaur here on Mountain, which means that he's very tough to take down, because he heals for 2 at the end of every turn, and he's taking 1 reduced damage, so he's very difficult to take out.
I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I was thinking about the Void and the movement, but I was not thinking about Mountain at all.
That's fine, yeah, it's easy to overlook that stuff, but this Mechasaur is very scary right now. He is extremely tough to take down.
Right.
So, first thing I'll do is I'll use my Mystic Summoner to make another Empty Husk.
Okay. And because that's a, like, it's not an enchantment or a hex, I don't get mana from that.
That's correct, yeah. But I can't do anything else because that's both my action points. This ability does take 2 action points. So, I don't know how I'm actually going to deal with this situation, because this is actually kind of tough. Mechasaur on Mountain is a nightmare. I have a shitload of good creatures as well, but it just doesn't quite work out in my favour here.
Is forced movement a thing in this game? So
Yes.
like, could you like force staff my Mechasaur into like an ocean?
Yes, that is a thing that is possible. Dinosaurs have 2 cards that can do that off the top of my head, and then of course there's the Terrain's Convulsion, which lets you manipulate a terrain on the board into any other kind of terrain, except Void and Circles of Power. So there are a few ways of doing that, but I just don't have access to those right now. So I'm going to bring my Stegosaurus here and attack your leader for 1 damage, because armor can't reduce incoming damage below 1.
So what counter am I using?
We use white for damage values. The other colours are just for random different things. They're just helpful to have.
Right.
So I'll mark my Stegosaurus as turn is over. Unfortunately, Visual Clutter is a thing I can't really solve. In a perfect world, again, like, the values on the cards would literally decrease. Like, your Wiz would read 6 out of 7 right now, but Tabletopia doesn't support that, unfortunately. So I'm going to spend 3 mana on a creature, and I will reveal it to be my own Mechanical Fortress, which I'll bring here, and I will take out your Mechanical Fortress.
Okay, and it's not occupying any special terrain, so that just goes.
That's correct, yeah. Mechanical Fortress is a very, very strong card, but it dies pretty easy.
That's brave, yeah.
Yeah, so if you like grab a card and you like hover it just right over a stack, it'll sink into like a stack, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a little bit awkward if you want to give it a try. There's a knack to it.
Yeah, it snaps to it.
Yeah, you need to let it glow underneath. It will like glow a little orange below.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, there is a knack to it. You'll get used to it.
Okay, alright. That was me thinking I was all smart, you know.
Huh.
You gotta wait for the orange.
So I really need to deal with this Mechasaur somehow. So I think I need to play my 7-mana creature here.
Oof.
Yeah, this is a big one. I'll use Wizard's ability on it. And I will reveal it to be the Diplodocus if you want to give that a read.
So you can put counters on face downs.
Yes, it will say on cards specifically if they can't put it on face down cards. For example, Wiz says including face down.
Oh, I see. And Diplodocus gains Tail Swipe. Okay, that's interesting.
So, game can consume 2 action points to attack an additional tile of attack range. That means it will get 1 attack diagonally. Because it's usually 1 horizontally or vertically by default. And diagonals generally count as 2 tiles in this game.
So,
but it can move and attack with 2 range, which is its downside. This card has been nerfed a lot.
So, when it attacks at 2 range, it could also hypothetically... I'll move it back, but if my Mechasaur's here, or hit here even, would it be able to attack?
It would, yes, that's correct. Okay. Yeah. Diplodocus used to have 3 movement, 5 attack, 7 health. And Tail Swipe used to be default, and used to Dino Evolve it, so it would only take 1 action point. It was broken. This card has been... It's probably the second most nerfed card in the game.
How long have you been working on this?
A while. Quite a while. Probably over a year in terms of thinking of ideas and stuff, and then physically sat at a desk like months and months. A long time. So my Diplodocus will attack your Mechasaur for 3, because you're on mountain, so you'll reduce the incoming damage by 1.
Right. So, I'll add a... and then I'll rotate that. We'll set it to a 3 even.
There you go. Perfect. Not that it really matters, because you're just going to heal up to full next turn most likely, but I kind of have to do that.
So, I'm healing 1 because of Self-Preparing Nanites, healing another one because of a Dino Evolution counter, and then Coddy's on a mountain? Is that...
No, because you can like use Wizard's ability on this again, because Self-Preparing Nanites can go up to 2 Dino Evolution, so you'll heal for 3 every turn.
I was wondering.
This card was busted because it had 6 health, 1 armor, and it healed on both players' turns.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't sound fun.
I nerfed it in the middle of the game once I realised how broken it was. I just said, nope, nerfing this right now. We're going to play it as if it only heals on your own turn. This card is still extraordinarily strong. But dice to Ocean, so... And I'm going to bring Wiz... No, I'm going to leave Wiz here. Your move.
Okay. Gain 3 mana. Draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Just the art is great. I love the card art.
Was it a 2-mana enchantment by any chance?
Yeah. Oh,
is it Snatch Mana?
No, it's not. But
oh, it's... I can't even think what it could be then. Teleport?
I mean, I think like it's probably not as funny as I'm finding it. So
if it's teleport, you can teleport my Mechanical Fortress onto an ocean tile over here.
Oh. Well,
that's kind of what I'm assuming it is.
No, it's not. I mean,
I can't think what it could be. Verdant Growth, maybe? I don't know. Don't tell me, like, unless you want to play it.
I've really bad like dad humor, so you're gonna see it and be like, I don't get it.
I mean, dude, I named the dragon leader Draggon, so you can join the boat in bad humor.
I'm gonna be like not cheesy. I'm gonna play the enchantment. Well, no, it's not an enchantment. Hold on. I'm gonna play this card, which I think is an enchantment.
Yes, that's correct. Speed through the ages. Yeah, I see why you find that. Is that the wait? Is that the
no,
one
no, it's not. It's not.
Oh, okay.
To get out of the way, it was this. It was
oh, this enchantment. Yeah, the art needs work on that.
Anyway, I play that, and then I will choose to spend 2 mana.
Okie dokie. Are you sure?
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, the way I look at it, I'm probably gonna lose, so I might as well like just see what works, what doesn't.
Well, the thing is that you only have 1 creature on the board that benefits from evolution counters, and it can only benefit from one more, so
Oh,
you objectively only have a reason to spend 1 mana here.
I see the 2 max. Okay, do you mind if I go back to these?
I don't mind at all. If you want to spend 1, it's absolutely fine. You have a Chamber of Mana, so you actually would end up paying 0, effectively, because you would gain the 1 mana back.
I guess I'd be on 4.
Yeah, so you just basically place a counter on this and draw a card.
Right, and then I'll set that to 2.
There you go. And I'll chuck that in your grave zone for you if you want to draw your card.
Draw card.
And you can play that immediately and get another mana. So this is Shrines in a nutshell. This card did absolutely nothing when you played it, but over time it will pay dividends.
Okay, this card doesn't seem very useful right now.
Can't imagine what it could be. There's quite a few zeros. Oh, it's probably Fossil Excavation.
Drat. I just realised I haven't got enough mana to do this play.
Yeah, Caves and Creatures does that a lot. Me and my chief playtester, we have this joke of if I had 1 more mana, and that's just all we say constantly.
Oh, this is interesting. Just floats. I want to just read the rules for abilities. Right, I'll play Wisp.
Ah, Wisp is a very nice card to have.
So 0 mana, if I'm correct.
That is correct.
Come to think of it, like, obviously, I'm not gonna go back now, but like, I could have just used Wizz's ability to give Megasaurus.
You could have. I kind of assumed that you wanted to see the card.
Yeah.
So, is there a reason to why you're playing Wisp here? Because Wisp has no combat power. Wisp is usually used to path block, because everything path blocks. Or you can use it on a circle of power, and then build up some counters, detonate it, and then it comes back 3 turns later anyway.
The reason I played it was just to block off Wizard.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
In
case I like bring my leader here, cast a card here, surround you. Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, it's free and it bounces. Why not?
Yeah, Wisp is very good.
Diplodocus does not fight back. So, I will attack with Mechasaur, and I'll got 4 wounds on Stegosaurus. Taken 2. Whereas Diplodocus.
Don't forget Diplodocus is on Mountain, so it will take 1 reduced damage.
Right. I'm gonna attack Stegosaurus with Mechasaur.
Yep, so I'll take a damage because I have 2 armor.
Right. And then I'll attack. Hold on, so let me just put a negation. So that's that done.
And then Wiz presumably gets lethal on the Stegosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good play, good play. Take out the Stegosaur.
Then
Ow.
again, we've got nothing on there. Wisp has already been played. Hypothetically, if I wanted to move Wisp, I can't, can I?
You can. Well, technically no, but I won't mind if you, like, we said this was face down and then you flipped it. Like, I'm not going to be funny about it. I'm not going to shark you. But technically you wouldn't be able to. But you could, like, move this here now and I wouldn't mind, for example.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep it as is, but this is just for me to understand the rules. So if I played Wisp to begin with, face down,
yeah,
I could have done that and then flipped it up.
You can flip it up and move it there, yeah, but you can't move it there and then flip it up because that would allow players to bypass terrain quite easily.
Right. So
I really don't mind if you want to do it that way. Honestly, it doesn't bother me in the slightest.
No, I actually want to keep it here. I'm just trying to, figure out the rules.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll just keep it where it is then. And I think that is me done.
Yeah, I think you have no more legal moves. So your Mechasaur will heal for 3 because of its ability.
Which means I remove these damage counters.
Correct. These aren't actually damage counters, damage indicators, even though everything else is a counter, and there's a reason for that. Counter Magician can spend 2 action points to put 1 of any kind of counter on the board, which is why these aren't damage counters, because otherwise it would be a global 1 damage every turn for 1 mana, and that would be broken.
So it's like a technicality, basically.
Yeah, and unfortunately I don't have a better way of representing it because Tabletopia. So you have left me a gap here, and I feel like I can probably take very good control of the board from here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put another Dino Evolution counter onto Diplodocus.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring my Mechanical Fortress up 1 and attack your Mechasaur for 3.
Yep.
And then
And it has
Diplodocus
no
will get
armor, does it?
lethal.
You served me well. Mechasaur.
Bring up my Empty Husk to here, and I'll make a new Empty Husk. And I'm going to go very aggressive now, and bring my leader up and attack yours for 1.
Mhm. Okay.
And then that's just my turn. I have nothing else I want to do.
Okay. Generate 3 mana, draw 1 card.
Correct, you got it.
Ooh.
So I do feel like I probably drew the better hand here.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Dinosaurs, they're a great deck to learn with because they're very simple overall. There's not a huge amount that's complicated about them. For example, I have this, which is literally just a big vanilla. Like, this is literally just a vanilla, but it's big and it's got crazy stats.
I think this is going to be crazy, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to play this card. Pay 1 mana.
Okay.
And then... I'm guessing that means I've got to pay 3 mana to use Dino Evolution?
No, that's the amount of counters you need.
Ah, okay.
So if you want to
Right.
take that back, I really don't mind.
Um,
This card combos well with Speed Through the Ages.
Yeah, I can see why that would work.
Yeah, so if you want to take your mana back and keep that in your hand, that's a card that you need to invest time into to pay off, or find the combo of Speed Through the Ages. But Jurassic Egg used to be very broken, because it used to revive when it died no matter how it died, and it could revive any dinosaur, and that includes the most powerful card in the game. You could just play the most powerful card in the game again for 1 mana.
Right. Oh, this is a 3 plus 1 to mana. I play... Oh,
Is it a
I
free
can play
plus 1?
Diagonal. Diagonals, right?
Yep, that's fine, yeah. Soul Harvesting Crypt, good card.
And then that Chains of Chamber of Mana.
Which is a mana, go ahead.
Set 5.
Boom.
Um,
Soul Harvesting Crypt combos well with Wisp, by the way.
your 3rd turn after this creature is great. Oh, okay. That's a scary wizard you've got over there.
Wiz has some of the best stats leader-wise. No other leader has 2 armor. Inns has 69 armor, but Inns only has 3 HP, so he's not actually that scary, but yeah, Inns has the most armor, but...
It's so rough, man. It's really, it's quite fun. Not trying to, like...
I've played a lot of this game at this point.
not trying to suck up or anything, but it is really fun. I'm going to pay 1 mana.
Yep.
That's 2. And I'll play Jurassic Egg.
Okay.
There. No, not there. There. I'll then pay 6 mana.
Ooh, big plays. Is this the Euplocephalus, perhaps?
No, it is
Choicesaurus?
Choicesaurus.
Ah, Choicesaurus. He's a good card.
Right. I will then... Yeah. I will use Wizard of the Dinosaur's effect. And I'll put 1 on... Wait, that will be nice, thank you. And I will attack your wizard with
And
my
effectively
wizard.
do 2... Oh, yeah, so that's 1 from your leader, and then Choicesaurus presumably attacks and does 2 damage overall by doing
Yes.
1 after combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage in 1 turn.
So Wizard has 2 armor and Choicesaurus has 2 attack, but chip goes through. And
Exactly.
my Wizard has 3 attack, which means you just get 1 armor.
Suddenly my Wiz doesn't look so hot.
And Jurassic Egg is 0 attack, so it wouldn't be able to...
0 attack creatures can attack, but their primary use for that is taking out hexes and enchantments, because like if I have this Enchantment of Mana face down, for example, your Wisp can attack it, and I have to use it, or it just dies. So they do have a function, but that's not applicable here, unfortunately.
Right, well, I think that's no more legal moves, so I will pass turn.
Cool, so I'll go up to 6 mana, draw my card. That's quite a nice one to have. So I do need to kind of deal with this situation here. Going to bring up my Mechanical Fortress and take out your Wisp. So I've set up a helpful thing on the sides of the board showing you cards that you can keep track of much easier rather than way off camera.
Right.
And that will give you a soul counter on your Harvesting Crypt.
Nice.
I'll bring this Empty Husk up and attack your Jurassic Egg.
Yeah, which I think will go down. Yeah.
I'll bring up my Empty Husk again, and I'll play another Empty Husk. So my Mystic Summoner is high value here.
Does my Soul Harvesting Crypt get another counter?
It does. So you remove 2 counters on your turn. This card used to be automatic. It got a very minor nerf. You have to manually do it. You can only do it once in each of your turns, but this is still an incredible card.
Mm.
I'm not in as good a position as I'd like to be honest, actually. I think I might have to go aggressive on your cave or something here. Don't know, Choisaurus gives Wiz problems, because Wiz is like really strong because of his armor, but Choisaurus kind of ignores armor.
Not so strong like your lightning loops now, eh? Huh?
Not quite, not quite. I do need to deal with this Choisaurus, but I don't have the mana. And I can't really run from it, whoops. I can't really run from it either, because Wiz doesn't move that fast.
Wiz has 2 movement.
Yeah. He's not slow, but he's not fast either.
So is there an archetype where, like, your leader is a fighter rather than, like... Because Wiz looks more like a kind of a buff leader, as it were.
Wiz is actually one of the better leaders for fighting. The best fighting leader is probably Crack. Here you are. Crack is probably the best fighting leader due to his very, very good stats here, but also he can heal. He's the only leader that can heal on his own. It's a bit slow, but just the fact that he has healing makes him good at fighting, running away, healing up, and then coming back into the fight. But Wiz is actually probably the strongest body-wise inherently, just due to having 2 armor. Armor's very, very powerful. Okay, let's retreat Wiz here. And I'm going to shove a 0-mana Hex in your way. So you have to get through that before you hit Wiz. And I feel like that's quite smart. I'm going to bring my Diplodocus up 1. And I'm going to conserve my mana. And I'm just going to pass move.
Okay.
So the first thing you'll probably want to do is gain your mana from your Soul Harvesting Crypt. And I'll put
get rid of that.
a marker on Wisp here to show he's got 1 turn on him. So you effectively gain 4 mana for this turn.
So once in your, if it, you can move 2 and gain 1 mana, so then I gain 4, which puts me on 5.
That doesn't give you Chamber of Mana because this is triggering a card, not activating it. So already face-up cards trigger rather than activate.
I figured that would be a bit too OP.
It would.
I draw 1 card at the
That's
beginning
correct.
of my turn. Look at what I got here.
Probably Diplodocus or Brachiosaurus.
Oh, that's interesting.
Both of which are premium creatures. Like, those are both 2 of the best creatures in the game.
Of course, you can see what...
Yeah, that's the beauty of this game, is you can just get a rough idea of what's coming, but you can't prepare exactly.
Can I not see your hand, or do you just not have any cards in your
You
hand?
can if you want, it's not a problem. I just have to do this manually, unfortunately, because Tabletopia, but this is my hand currently here.
Oh, so you've got 3, 6, 4, 7.
A lot of creatures.
Well, I'm not sure how much information I got from that, but, you know, it's always good to have...
As you play the game more and more, you get to know more about the threat levels of cards based on their mana cost. Unfortunately, that's just kind of a barrier that you have to play multiple games to get around. I mean, I'm happy to just outright show you my hand since it's the first time.
Every game takes time to learn.
Yeah. But this is the sort of threat level that you can expect from these mana costs. So I've got my own Choisaurus, I've got a Spinosaurus, I've got a Triceratops.
Speaking of Triceratops, I'm going to...
Play Triceratops.
Yes. But the question is, where? So that Diplodocus is on a mountain.
Yeah, so he's effectively got 2 armor right now. He's quite tricky to eke through.
And Tundra. Creatures take 1 damage and pathing over the Tundra.
If you cast a creature onto Tundra, it won't take the damage because it didn't actually move onto it.
Yeah.
So if you like put your Triceratops here, it won't take Tundra damage.
I get the feeling this is the wrong play, but I'll do it anyway. I'm going to play Triceratops there. Obviously face down, don't flip it.
Yep, of course, yep.
Set to 2. Activate Wizard's effect. and give Choicesaurus one more counter.
So he heals and does damage after combat. He's very scary now. This is still face down right now.
Oh.
Because you probably want to flip it and attack, presumably, rather than just flip it and do nothing.
Of course. It needs to happen like one at a time. So I'll move Choicesaurus.
Aha! When you move Choicesaurus... Oh, actually, I don't know if I want to do this. This will give you a mana, but...
Hang on. I triggered your trap card.
What are the... What? Can I see the back of your hand, please?
Hold on. Probably bad.
7 and...
Oh, hold on. No. Well, you know what that is anyway.
Yeah, okay, so you don't have any... Okay, so this makes this a better play, so I will back to square one you, which will give you a mana because of your Chamber of Mana, unfortunately, but it stops your Choicesaurus being effective this turn.
You can activate this card for return to position. Oh, that's kind of cool. And I get one...
You do. Something I really find funny about this card is that these are literally squares. I just find that really funny. A double entendre.
Right, so we've got... So you basically denied Choicesaurus. I will then, unsurprisingly, flip.
Oh, this is your second turn, right? This has another counter.
Yes. Triceratops.
Shock.
Christ, that's got a lot of HP.
It's actually not a lot for a 7 mana creature, but it's on mountain, so it's artificially durable. Very intentional positioning.
I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna... Hold on. Flip.
Do you not want to... Yeah, I was going to say.
Attack your Diplodocus. I will then move Wizard up there.
And attack Diplodocus again, presumably.
Diplodocus, yep.
Big ow. Many oof.
I think that's about it. I will pass turn.
Okie dokie. So I'll go up to 9 mana. Draw my card.
It's getting scary now because you've got 9 mana and I'm chilling on 3.
Yeah. It's not all bad for you because you do have a loaded Choicesaurus. Like, this Choicesaurus is very scary right now. And he's a struggle to deal with. And I can't advance on your cave either because my fortress will die on this ocean, which sucks.
And you're blocked in by the void.
Yeah, exactly. However, I can one-shot your Triceratops with my fortress, which is what I'll do.
A necessary sacrifice.
Indeed. But that does net you a soul counter.
Excellent.
My empty husks aren't actually doing anything right now, and it's kind of awkward.
Well, they're playing an intimidation game.
Yeah.
Just the sight of seeing 3 extra creatures on the board, it's kind of scary.
Well, caves have 2 armor, but my Diplodocus will do 2 damage a turn to your cave, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk over this tundra and take a damage, and I will attack your Chamber of Mana to get rid of it.
You had a good run, mate.
Yeah, he almost paid himself off. No, I think he did. I think he did just about pay himself off. Next, I'll bring this empty husk over and attack your leader for 1. And I'll bring this empty husk over. I'm actually going to move my Mystic Summoner to here. I think I want to go aggressive on your leader now. I think that's how I'm going to play this game. So I'm going to spend 6 here.
Ouch.
And I'll use Wiz's ability. And I will reveal it to be my own Choicesaurus, and I'll effectively hit Wiz for 2 by attacking and then using his ability post-combat to deal 1 damage.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So it's got 2 left.
And I'm going to protect my Choicesaurus by placing this 1 mana Hex here. So you have to attack this before attacking him. And I will pass move. If you'd like to take your Wisp back to your hand, since it's the 3rd turn now.
Oh, this is mad. Like, wow.
What's mad?
I don't know, it's cool.
It's good to hear.
Draw 1.
Dinosaurs are definitely one of the better designed decks, in my opinion. I think they're all decently well designed, but I think dinosaurs are, if not the pinnacle, down close to the pinnacle. So, if you're in desperate need of a 7th mana, an option you do have is you could play your Wisp here, walk it over the tundra to kill it, which will get you a soul counter, and then you can farm harvest those soul counters for your 7th mana, potentially.
That's an interesting combo.
If you're desperate for a 7th mana, I don't know if that's a good play. You might be better off just blocking creatures from moving or something with it.
to be honest, I wouldn't know what to do with this other card, so that's
Huh.
exactly what I'll do. Hold on, let me try and do it properly. I'll play this face down card, flip it up, move it 1, dice the Tundra,
Big shock.
grave. Yeah. So even when it's exiled, it comes back. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, Wisper's basically omnipresent.
Alright. Sort of Dota reference. I'll play this card for 7 mana.
Yeah, so you just get 2 here and remove them for your 7th. It's got to be the Brachio, right? Or is it your own Diplodocus? Please don't be Diplodocus.
It's not Diplodocus, you're right, it's Brachio.
It's
So
still,
if I move it 1, then flip it?
if you move it 1 while face down, that ends that card's turn, so you got to flip it first.
Okay.
So that's to stop people from circumventing terrain penalties where they otherwise shouldn't be able to.
Go there, take 1 damage, like a boss. And no special effects, it's just a vanilla.
It is a very big vanilla. Brachio is a premium creature. Do you want to hit the Diplodocus or the Fortress?
I think I just need to get rid of the Diplodocus before I start slapping my cave.
Yeah, it's going to do 2 damage a turn to your cave, which is a big deal.
I'm going to attack your...
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then presumably take it down with Wiz, maybe?
I'm going to have to, aren't I? And it'll make more sense for me to retreat with anyway. I'm going to move... Wiz has a move of 2, and there's no, like, negative terrain.
That's
Move
correct.
without
That's
Attack.
ouch. And get yourself another soul counter because a creature died.
Oh, it's for yours, any creature. Oh,
Yep, Soul Harvesting Crypt is very, very good.
Then
But the reason why shrines are so good is because initially they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing when you first play them. That's why they pay off so well.
Because a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh is like if you get cards like that, it's often the weight isn't worth.
Exactly. Yeah, if it doesn't +1 you immediately, you might as well not play it. Whereas in this game, you actually have, like, usually, a shrine can be on the board easily for the entire game. Because you can protect it as well, whereas in Yu-Gi-Oh! You struggle to protect cards.
Heavy Storm, GG.
Thank God that's banned.
I'm gonna.
Or is it, like, illegal again in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know.
No, I think it's still banned. Like,
It should be. Then again, Twin Twisters is arguably better.
especially with the graveyard effects. But back to this game. I'm going to move Choicesaurus here.
Yep.
And I'm going to attack your Choicesaurus.
Okay, so let's do this step by step. So I'll take 2 damage first of all.
Yeah.
So, turn player gets... Hang on, I can't remember which player gets priority here, but it really doesn't matter too much, because I'm just going to heal regardless. So I'll just heal my 1, and you'll presumably just do the 1, obviously. Well, you do both, actually.
Well, I get both because of,
You do.
And then... Oh, I've got no mana.
And you cast more cards anyway, so that's your turn over.
Yeah. Pass.
Damn, my plan didn't work out, unfortunately.
I just want to know what that... Don't tell me, but I want to know what that is. I want to see if it's a bluff or if it's actual, like, crazy card.
The card I just drew.
No, the hex you've put next to
Oh,
it.
I see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out. Wiz will definitely place a counter on this Choicesaurus here. So the awkward thing about your Choicesaurus is my empty husks cannot whittle it down, because it'll just heal 1 after every combat. So my only realistic play here is my Fortress will attack the Brachio for 2.
Yeah. So that
And my Husk will attack it for 1, so net 3.
Alright.
And...
Okay. Got 3 left.
Yeah, but I have a feeling my Fortress isn't long for this world. I don't know how I'm going to deal with your Choicesaurus. I have my own, but it doesn't do enough. I'm going to move my Hex over here. I think I just have to tank some losses and just take it out. Also, this card actually kind of deals with this, so I'll play a 4-mana creature here. And I'll use Wizard's ability. And I will reveal it to be the Spinosaurus. I'll give you a chance to read that. So this is the first example of creatures using terrains that are otherwise typically... Well, using terrains that intrinsically don't do anything. This creature actually benefits from ocean terrain.
Gains +1 and heals one if it's got a Dino evolution. Okay.
which is a kind of a soft counter to Choisaurus here. So I'll bring my Spinosaurus up and hit you for 3. You'll heal for 1, so you'll effectively take 2, and I'll take 1. And my Choisaurus will attack yours, so effectively you'll just take the 2.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to select your card.
That's alright, Tabletopia does that sometimes. So you'll effectively just take 2, and I'll just heal off the 1 you do to me, if that makes sense. Like, these two kind of just cancel each other out.
You got your boy back in you.
Yeah, and Spinosaurus will heal for 1 at the end of the turn, because it moved through Ocean. Your move. And I'll give you a Whisper counter here.
Generate that to 3. Draw 1. What are we looking at?
I felt like I just had to tank some damage to take out your Choisaurus, because I will have my own Choisaurus who will stay alive for a bit, so I feel like I'm still in an alright position.
This card seems somewhat underpowered.
I can't imagine what it could be. I'm guessing Mana Magician, maybe?
No.
Acidic Dilophosaurus?
Yes.
Acidic Dilophosaurus is one of the best cards in the game.
Is it? Well, there you go then, you know. Just goes to show you how much I know.
It was nerfed a lot. As in, its original print affected caves, which was broken. And its original print for 1 Dino Evolution counter could permanently poison leaders, so for 3 mana you could guarantee your opponent's leader died. That was broken.
I'll play that card, flip it.
Do you want to pay mana and maybe put a counter on it?
Yes. Cool. There
you go.
So right now it...
So worth pointing out also is the wording, any non-leader creature that this creature battles, that includes if it's attacked.
Okay.
Which makes it incredibly powerful.
Alright. Gonna move 1.
And hit my Fortress. Yeah. And then presumably the Brachio is going to get lethal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I won't bother doing the damage over time counters then. You don't get a soul counter for that, because Soul Harvesting Crypt doesn't count mechanicals, and Mechanical Fortress is, shockingly, a mechanical.
You don't say. Okay, now I'm in a tough spot. So your Choisaurus has 4 HP, but it will... Yo, that's crazy, man. What do I do?
Choisaurus is very powerful. It's been nerfed many times.
I guess I will just... Yeah, I'm gonna slap your Spinosaurus with Choisaurus.
Yeah, so I'll effectively take 3 and you'll heal for 1.
Yeah. Rotate that back to 3.
Beautiful.
He's done.
You're right there, you can't grab anything? Oh, but yeah. You're out of... There's none in there, sorry. There's not enough markers. There you go, there's some here. That's my fault. I've been redistributing where they should go. Let me just refill your bag. There you go. You've got some in your bag now.
Wither's already done his ability. Can he move?
He can, yeah, but the ability is a free action, so it doesn't cost an action point, so you can still move, cast, and attack with Wiz. That's part of what makes Wiz really powerful, is that you can load up your dinosaurs quite quickly and get them powerful pretty fast.
Got 2 movement. I mean, I might as well move him here. And I can't attack diagonally, can I?
You cannot, no.
Alright, so... Yeah, I'll pass turn and let's return these to the rifle.
Coolio. So I got to 4 mana. You're playing very well, by the way. Especially for a first turn, like, first time player. It's really good.
Well, if any consolation, like, you know, you're teaching pretty well, so there we go.
It helps that you've played like Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic and stuff before. However, I did draw a fantastic card for this situation, so I'm going to move my Hex forward 1 tile.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play the Rowdy Pterodactyl.
What the?
Which also doubles up as Rowdy Pterodactyl.
You weren't kidding. You weren't kidding about these puns. This creature can only use its movement to move horizontally. But if you have 3 counters on it,
So I'll, of course, like, place my counter, but I'll let you read that.
Huh.
The reason why this is perfect is because I can reach this circle of power now. And it's quite durable. Even though it takes 2 damage from the terrain, it still has 5 health, so it's not the easiest to shift off there.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah, I was just trying to like figure out why it had that like limitation, but then I realized 4 movement for a free mana card is pretty good. I'm guessing.
4 movement, 7 health. Yeah, it's a lot. It's high value.
Yeah.
That's why it's got that huge limitation. So now that that creature is done, my Choicesaurus will attack your Choicesaurus. So
It's crazy. So
I need to check something in the rules actually, because I'm not sure if you can avoid lethal before I kill you here. I can't remember what I determined here. Let me see. It's not this one. Not that one. Da-da-da. Shit. I might not have covered this one, actually. Priority is always passed to the player that didn't just perform an action or made a declaration. Okay, so you actually have priority on your thing here. So, oh, actually, you can definitely avoid... Yeah, you can definitely... So this is going to be a weird one, and this is an example of something I'd like to simplify in the game. But basically, so you take 2 damage to begin with, and you get priority on ability activation here. But because of the stack systems, this game uses the stack system. It's literally chaining from Yu-Gi-Oh! You just go backwards.
yeah.
So you would wait for me to declare my ability, and then you respond with your own.
This is where it's starting to get crazy.
This is a little bit of a complicated one that I would like to... I have no idea how to simplify it yet, and it might just be one of those things I just have to accept is a little bit weird. But basically, your play to survive here is to not declare your ability and respond to me declaring mine, because your... Yeah, because your ability will be second in the stack, which means it will come first.
I'll take your word for it, man. If you left me to my own devices, who knows what I would have done.
Yeah, basically, you just want to be Chainlink 2, because Chainlink 2 resolves first rather than Chainlink 1. That is a weird one, and I do want to simplify it, but per the stack system, you just wait for me to declare mine, then you declare yours, and then you're safe, so nothing happens here effectively. But that does mean my Empty Husk does have lethal on your Choicesaurus,
Gosh.
because it only has 1 health, and it doesn't survive, so you don't actually reach post-combat, so you don't get to heal.
Right, so he goes... I mean, on the bright side, I get
A Soul Counter.
Soul Harvesting Crypt counter. It's nice.
That's correct.
Biochosaurus. You made him sweat for like a turn or 2.
It was a problem. It really was. I will move my Spinosaurus from Ocean to attack Wiz for 1.
Right, and so it says if it moves over Ocean, but it started in Ocean. So
Yeah. And then the evolution is if this creature heals 1 HP at the end of every turn, it moves from, through, or onto Ocean. So this will still heal at the end of the turn.
okay.
I'll bring this... I guess I'll just bring this Empty Husk up, and I'll move my... I'm actually going to move my Mystic Summoner over here. And I don't see a reason to move anything else, so I'll just heal my Spinosaurus for 1 and pass move.
Okay. Generate 3.
I have a feeling you're going to be good at this game.
I want to use Soul Harvesting Crypt's effect.
Yep, that's fine.
So remove 2, gain 1.
This has been a high value Soul Harvesting Crypt. It's given you 4 mana so far, 3 or 4. And your Wisp will go up to 2 counters.
Jesus Christ, this art!
What was the mana cost of the card you drew?
Oh, his mana cost 3.
So, probably Mana Magician?
Yeah. I'm not laughing at it. I'm laughing like with it, you know.
Yeah, because it's funny. Yeah, I think a lot of the art is quite funny. I think Choicesaurus's art is one of the funniest because it's literally the Velociraptor meme.
Yeah. So what do I want to play? Do I want to play this? I could do this, but how long is it going to survive? Can I move Wiz and then summon and then cast?
You can. Yes, as long as you haven't attacked. Casting from your hand is a free action, but attacking is the last action a creature takes.
Right. I'm gonna as they say. Get out of dodge.
Get the
Move
heck out of dodge.
Wizard. I'll play Mana Magician for 3 mana.
And then just refund 1 immediately, presumably.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know I could do that, but yes, cool.
Well, yeah, you can just use the ability the turn you play it. Also, this is an example of cards facing through the board. There we go, it's not too bad.
Yeah. Just... I tried my best. Acidic Dilophosaurus. Oh, I haven't used Wizard's ability yet.
Nope, and this is within 3 tiles, so you can go like 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Make that 2. So now it's +1 acidic saliva. Your Brachiosaurus is on.
That's your Brachio.
Oh.
The direction it's
good,
facing
then.
indicates whose card it is.
Alright. I will...
This is where the Mystic Summoner is going to start paying off, because I have this fucking meaty wall that kind of counters your Dilophosaurus.
I'm going to believe in the heart of the cards.
Oh, I think I see what play you're going for.
I'm going
Yeah,
1,
yeah,
2,
yeah,
3. I'm going to attack your Spinosaurus with Diplo for 1 damage.
And then I'll
But that
take
will
2
be-
damage over time. Yep.
Yeah. And then that's that one.
And that would just kill it at the start of my turn, basically.
Yeah. I will get Brachiosaurus and I'll attack your Empty Husk.
Ouch.
Walking Dead?
No, actually, the original art was, but I had to change that because of copyright purposes. This is just some free-to-use art.
Right, and then Brachiosaurus. Hold on, wait.
You can't move after you attack.
Yeah. Sorry, I was getting confused with, like, you know, take its place. Oh, that's in the chest, basically.
Yeah, no, it's not like that, no.
Attack. He's done. Wizard is also done. But, yeah, I will pass. Oh! Soul Harvesting Crypt.
Tokens don't count. Tokens don't get graved. They are literally the same as they are in Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! They just disappear.
Oh, okay, right. In that
So,
case, that's...
However, you will get one from my Spinosaurus instantly dying.
So, does that die at the end of my turn?
It's at the start of a player's turn that the damage over time happens. Still
At the
think that
start
this
of your
card is
turn.
weak?
No.
Dilophosaurus is incredible.
It cut me a break, man. You know, first time playing.
Yeah, it's fine. I just think it's funny. It's so funny, like, because I've been in the same position where I've been like, this card is broken, and then I playtest it, and it's like, this sucks. Or I'm like, this card is fine, and then I playtest it, and it's like, nope, this card is broken. So the first thing I'll do is I'll use the Circle of Power to spend 2 action points to build up a power counter on my Pterodactyl. So if you check the Circle of Power over here, I can build up counters, and then I can spend 2 action points and remove all power counters on that creature to deal damage that ignores armor to your cave. So that's my plan here. I'm going to build this up, I'm going to blow it up and damage you from range.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a mechanic that gives multiple objectives on the board. Like, there's 3 main objectives, really. 4 if you kind of count defending your cave. And it beats entrenchment, so it stops people from just AFKing and hiding.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my Mystic Summoner to place an Empty Husk token here.
You're allowed with the Empty Husk.
And I'll move it 1 tile.
Right.
Next, I think I just need to deal with the fact that Dilophosaurus is going to hurt my stuff. So I'm going to bring my Choicesaurus up and take it out.
Okay.
You'll get a soul counter, but I will get 2 permanent damage over time. And I'll heal for 1.
What was the flash? Give me the orange flash.
Sometimes it just doesn't work. Tabletopia is a shitty website. It's not very good. No, it is very good, but it has issues.
So is this like website designed for how do I describe it? Homebrew?
Yeah,
Like card
kind
games,
of,
or
yeah.
do people play like, I don't know, MTG on here as well?
You technically could, but you'd have to like upload all the cards. It's a lot of work. When I had to rebuild this game from scratch, it was easily 11 hours work to upload like all the cards and rebuild the game.
Right.
It's a lot of work. This Empty Husk is going to come up and hit your Brachio for 1.
Okay.
And this Empty Husk is going to come up and do nothing. Going to bring Whiz up, and I know what you're drawing. You're drawing the strongest card in the game, intrinsically, not literally. It's definitely better cards, but Draw is very powerful.
It would be nice if I had enough mana to use it.
It would, yeah. There's a reason why it costs 12 mana.
Right. Do you pass that?
Gonna move my... Oh, no, yeah. No, I can't. I cast my token, so yeah, I can't do that. Gonna move Whiz here. I strongly doubt you can kill him. So your move.
Right. Generate 3, draw 1.
Get your Wisp to hand since it's been there for 3 turns.
Good thing you reminded me. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's why I put it over here, because I'd forget as well. And presumably the first thing you want to do is use your Mana Magician.
Oh, hell yeah. Get that. As the kids say, get that bread. So I'm on 6 mana.
And now you get to look at draw. Do you mind putting... I know what it is. I know it's durable Diplodocus draw. Put it on the table for the video. So yeah, this card is intrinsically the most powerful card in the game. It's offset by the fact it costs 12 mana.
I forgot you were filming.
It's easily done. I
Dino
forget.
Evolution. You can make this card ignore 1 non-passive card or ability that affects this card, and lose 1 Dino Evolution counter on it if you choose.
Yeah, so you can just kind of like ignore downsides. It's like, I'll just reveal this because I don't mind you knowing this is a break. It's like you could just ignore this break and just keep your armor. Like, that's the sort of shit you could do.
That quote. I like it.
What, the last
break
lines,
quote.
the flavor text.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll notice it says unique on it. Every deck has 1 unique creature.
Mhm.
Uniques are intrinsically overpowered for their cost. This is very intentional design. For example, if you want to carry on with your turn, I'll see if I can find the insects unique real quick.
While you're doing that, I will, unsurprisingly, or actually, before I do that, I will move.
There we go. So this is like the insects unique here. Cruel Cockroach Cadder. It's a 0 mana creature that you can't get rid of. It just keeps on coming back and back and back, and it's very, very powerful.
That does look like a cruel cockroach.
It is. Funny facts about the unique creatures is all their names are 3 words, and they're all alliteration.
I'll move Wizard up 1.
Yep.
I will play this mysterious 0 mana card face down, but flip it face up.
This is not a Wisp.
It's Wisp.
Shock. Horror.
And then I will spend 3 mana to play the mighty. Well, face down, then face up.
Ooh, Deltadromeus.
Deltadromeus. I will use that cheeky Wizard's effect to.
Yeah, so this will be face down first, and you put a counter on, then you flip it up. Cool.
Yeah. That's gonna get me. I need to remember that rule.
That's fine. Yeah, it's easily done.
So how come I can't cast it, flip it face up, and then put a counter on it?
You can, but your Deltadromeus' turn would then be over because you flipped it up and not moved it. So flipping it up like counts as a part of movement, even though it doesn't take action points. So like you just kind of end its turn if you do nothing. If you ever played Advance Wars, it's literally like that.
Oh, I quite like Advance.
Yeah, so like if you stop a unit in Advance Wars like on a tile, it just can't do anything for the rest of the turn. It's exactly the same concept.
Right. That.
And I presume you want to attack with this.
I mean, I kind of put it there as a wall more than anything because it's not going to do anything to Choicesaurus. You'll just heal.
Objectively incorrect. You'll do 3 damage, and Choicesaurus will heal for 1.
Oh, of course. I just assumed that they only do 1 damage. Right, that's smart.
Yeah, so
I will do exactly as you said.
And you'll take 1 damage back from Choicesaurus.
Mm-hmm. And you can wipe it next turn.
But I'm going to take 2 damage from the Acidic Dilophosaurus.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was there.
Yeah, that's why this is here. I'd love a better UI for it, but I just have to use a bunch of different coloured dice. There's no real easy way around that.
Like, obviously it's early days, but have you got plans to have this, like, printed?
It's a possibility. It's not a reality. It's not realistic right now, but it's not impossible.
It's interesting to think about how these counters would play out on the
Well, I actually have, obviously you won't be able to see this, but like I actually bought a bag of dice, which I'm going to show for the camera, because like I'm going to get a personal version printed, if nothing else. I've already spent like 15 quid on a shitload of dice.
Yeah, man, like, you're obviously quite passionate about this. I'd be surprised if you didn't get a personal version.
And you've seen only 1 of the 7 decks.
Alright, I will attack with my Brachiosaurus into that one. And I think that's No, because that was a token, so I don't get a soul counter.
That's correct. This card would be kind of broken if it worked with tokens.
Yeah. Oh, you still got that pterodactyl over there.
Yep, he's going to keep on building up counters, and I'm going to protect him.
I'm gonna pass turn.
Okie dokie, so I got up to 7 mana. My Choisaurus will take 2 damage, and I'll draw a card. So, I'm in a very good position right now. I'm going to move my Empty Husk up 1, and my Mystic Summoner's going to make a new Empty Husk.
Oh no, I see what you're going for.
Oh yes, I'm going to...
So a token can activate the Circle of Power as well.
That's correct. It's a creature. All creatures can do it. So I'm going to move this Empty Husk up 1 and hit your Brachio for 1. I'm going to bring Choisaurus over and hit it for 1 also, and heal up 1. Not that that matters, because this is just going to die on my turn anyway, but yeah.
Well, you got value out of it. So.
I did. I'm going to play a 3-mana creature, and I will place a counter on it, and I'll flip it up to reveal it to be the Triceratops, which will take out your Deltadromeus, which does net you a soul counter. But that's fine, because I'm going to spend 2 mana on my Disenchantment with the epic art of a plate and the word enchantment, and take out your Soul Harvesting Crypt.
Oh no. It's all going wrong.
To be fair, that was a lot of value, because I lost 2 mana, and you gained, like, I don't even know how much mana you gained from that, like 5? So that was like a 7 mana card, basically. That was very high value. I'm going to bring this Hex up 1 to path block you, and I will build another power counter on my Pterodactyl. And that's all I've really got. Your move.
Oh boy. Right, generate 3.
And you're about to laugh at this card, I know you are. I love that card. Do you want to, it's Neversaurus if you want to show it for the viewers, because I know what it is. This card is so funny. The Neversaurus coming low.
When face down, this card looks like an enchantment.
I knew what it was because I'd already seen the other 3 mana enchantment in your deck, which was the Chamber of Mana, and there's only 2 in the dinosaur deck. Presumably you want to gain a mana off your Mana Magician.
Yes, I will be doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's not really a lot I can do right now. I mean...
Yeah, I have kind of gained... Turn 1 Mystic Summoner is very powerful because it's very hard to take down, and you just kind of throw bodies at your opponent. And another weakness of the dinosaurs is they struggle to get multiple creatures on board. Like, I'm in a winning position, and I've only really got 3 creatures, and the only reason I have more is because of the Mystic Summoner, and these only count as half creatures, really, because they're so weak. But dinosaurs struggle to get multiple creatures on board, so they struggle to take out a wide amount of tokens.
Like, I'm not going to be like a bad sport and, like, give up. I'm going to play on, but it does seem like it's just kind of decided.
Yeah, it was a very even game for a while, but I did pull ahead. And that's the thing with the game. It's I'm not going to say it's a flaw, because I don't think it's a flaw. It's just a thing that happens, that it can be even for a long time, and then it can seem like a stomp because one player pulled ahead, but we were even fighting back and forth there for, I mean, how long are we in? We're an hour and a half in at this point. For about...
An hour and a half, what?
For an hour, we've been about even, and I've had a very slight edge since that hour, maybe. Your Wisp will die if you put it there, because this is Tundra.
Oh, of course.
But you could put your Wisp here to stop my Empty Husk advancing up the board, for example.
You can bet I'm doing that. There you go, mate. Place that face down.
Presumably a teleport? Oh no, it's the Disenchantment.
Yes, because you haven't played any of this entire game, so it's just been chilling there in my hand.
Yeah, so a ruling that I will mention now for the sake of convenience, I suppose, is you know how in Yu-Gi-Oh MST doesn't negate?
Yeah.
Well, in this game, cards need to be in their appropriate place on the board to work properly. So if I play this Enchantment of Mana, you can respond with Disenchantment, and then because this is no longer on the board, it fizzles, it doesn't work properly.
Okay.
Because it's not on the board. I always thought that rule was bullshit in Yu-Gi-Oh, how you can MST a thing and it would still work. But, you learn to live with that sort of stuff.
I mean, that was high school rules, isn't it? Well, I said
Yeah,
high school.
back
Like,
in the day is like,
when I was in primary school, like, because I owned 3 copies of MST, I was undefeated.
yeah. And then there's the old discard from your hand to draw a card trick that worked with that worked with Dark Worlds because street rules.
Oh my god, yo, I felt so bad when I clocked that I couldn't do that with Dark World, you know, like costs and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Back to the game. I will pay 3 mana, summon Nevosaurus, which you may have not seen coming.
I did not see coming.
I'm gonna, you know what? Let's have some fun. I'm gonna move, Wizard.
Do you want to act with your Nevosaurus first? Because you
Yes.
flipped it up. Presumably hitting my Triceratops.
I'll hit your Triceratops. Yeah, I need to check this terrain just to make sure I'm not.
You would die to the desert.
Uh,
A planned very minor buff to Wiz is that he's going to be immune to desert at some point. Just because it's like thematic, not because dinosaurs need a buff, because dinosaurs are a very strong deck, but he's a lizard. He should probably be immune to desert.
well, Wizard's gonna move 1, 2. I'm gonna guard his cave.
Very well.
Quite thematic, if you ask me. And then I will pass.
Okay, so my Chirisaurus just Tekken dies.
Am I gonna get? I don't think I'm gonna get a chance to summon this.
Draw is very difficult to play, but when you do, it's frequently a game winner. Because 5 attack is just huge. So I'm going to move my Empty Husk up, going to move this Empty Husk up, going to bring my Mystic Summoner forward.
Definitely not Louise.
So I'm going to use Wizard's ability on Triceratops, so I will mark that Wizard's ability has been used with this locked marker.
Okay.
Just so I don't forget. Then I'm going to spend, playing an X cost Hex here, and I'm going to flip it up, and I'm going to spend 4 mana to kill your Nevosaurus.
Whew, that's crazy.
Doom Hex is very good, but what balances this out is you have to always spend more mana than the card you're trying to kill.
I guess.
So it's always a mana downside. But in this situation, it's worth it, because my Triceratops has 3 movement now, so I'll bring it up and attack Wiz.
Which is
Lethal. Yeah, so
where's
Wiz
he
just
going?
goes like in your cave. Usually we just chuck it back here because sometimes when you're in cave collapse, it'll
Yeah.
cover up the dice. If you want to forfeit here, I don't mind because this is a literally unwinnable position.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll forfeit, but I like to think I'd put up a good fight.
You did, yeah, you did. I think I just drew better there, to be honest. I think that Mystic Summoner actually carried the game, to be honest. Like, I feel like the rest of it was even, but the Mystic Summoner was the straw that broke the camel's back.
It did feel really cool, like that kind of thing we were doing here, where I had the Choicesaurus, and it seemed really good for me. And then when you got yours out, I was kind of like, well, you know what? I better draw a Hex or something because
You're
I'm not
actually
really-
drawing the Doom Hex now.
Oh, that's fun.
But
Oh,
yeah,
That's
it was a
good.
very even game for a long time. It's just Caves and Creatures can often snowball a little bit just because of how creatures stay on the board. There's no board wipes, which is something I hate in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, just top deck Dark Hole.
yeah, it's always rough when when anyone sets up a board and then Raigeki.
Yeah, it's lame, and that doesn't happen in this game. There's no board wipes. The closest thing to a board wipe is Doom Hex, and this card has a huge drawback of you have to take a mana disadvantage to use it.
So to that I ask, because obviously, like not negation, like clearance cards like Raigeki and Dark Hole, they're kind of a ways to reset the board. What Dark Hole is, Raigeki not so much, and kind of open up the way for a comeback scenario. Is that kind of a concept that is integrated in this game? Like, are there opportunities for comebacks? Do cards facilitate that?
This
Or-
game has a resource system, and that means that board wipe stuff would have to be incredibly expensive to be worth it. And as you probably noticed already with Draw, expensive stuff is very difficult to play. And often you have to play the cheaper things to do something you need to do now. And board wipes would actually be actively harmful to the game, I feel, because
Oh no. So no, I definitely agree with you on that front. Now, what I mean is like, so for a player who's behind, like, so what would have been like a way in which I could have come back, from that pivotal point, or in your design philosophy, do you feel that once a player has won that kind of crucial engagement, that they should just snowball to victory?
So there are actually a couple of hidden comeback mechanics. There were a couple of minor mistakes you did make, but honestly, you played extraordinarily well for a first-time player. I think I saw maybe 2 or 3 moves total that were maybe very minor mistakes, but they were very difficult to spot, and I've got a lot of time into this game, and I dev'd it, so I kind of learned to seek these things. But the hidden comeback mechanics are, so, due to the way combat works, I'm just going to make a hypothetical board here. So let's pretend like I have... let me get rid of these. So let's pretend I'm like in this sort of a situation, and your leader's here, and you're all healed, and you've got like 5 mana or something. So each time I attack your cave, right? So if I'm attacking your cave here, right, I attack you twice, you take 2 damage. I'm not actually impacting the board. I'm not clearing anything off the board. I'm not actively harming you. I'm just achieving the objective, which is why caves take damage over time, because, again, in Yu-Gi-Oh!, if I do 7,999 damage to you and leave you on 1 life point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, what if I pull out my combo starter?
Yeah, whereas if I drop you to 25 health, this matters, because you will lose if you don't make something happen. You will. You'll bleed out. You'll eventually drop to dead. This is hidden mechanic, comeback mechanic number 1, because you can then kill these creatures, and I've effectively traded my board presence for cave damage. And there's many situations where that comes up. And the other hidden comeback mechanic is, so let's say this is your board, right? You've got this, you've got this, I'm like up here or something, and then this is like over here, whatever. So I've built up this successfully to 5 counters. If I detonate this, and I do 5 damage to your cave, so we're back in this position, I've lost board presence again.
Yeah, you've lost a card.
I've lost 3 mana and a full card, and I didn't achieve anything with it other than the objective. This means that you're playing with a mana advantage. I'm playing 3 mana down.
And at the same time, again with the hypothetical board, if you've got cards there, and then I decide to counter by getting rid of these 2, you could have already set up perhaps cards here.
Yes, but I'm still playing at a mana disadvantage, which is a hidden comeback mechanic. Now, usually it's worth it to get your opponent into cave collapse, and then you can sort of play defensively maybe and do something, but these are very, very subtle but important comeback mechanics. It's very often that the player that gets an early lead will end up on the defensive by the end of the game, because they've lost between sort of 3 and 10 mana's worth of cards for very little.
So the point I was trying to make there with the whole with the double pronged attack is more that how do I put it? There's some opportunity for the player who's doing better to maintain that advantage, because you don't have to detonate that. It's more like there is an insurance policy. So basically, what I'm trying to say is I like it. I like that kind of. There's a multifaceted, kind of layer of complexity. Words not working at.
Depth is the word.
Depth. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. The thing is that I wanted to reward the player for going for the objective, because I didn't want players to do 29 cave damage and then lose. Why should you be punished for going for the objective? You shouldn't, and that's why this damage over time and these alternate win conditions exist. Like, why should a player be allowed to just play defensively around their cave and win? In my opinion, you should actually have to play the game. And that's why I feel like it's okay that you sometimes reach scenarios where a comeback isn't possible because you got outplayed or the opponent drew better somewhere.
Yeah, you can't always give comeback mechanics. I mean, look at X Factor.
Yeah. I mean, I've considered a great many comeback mechanics, and I'm still considering making it a little bit harder to attack caves. For example, I'm considering giving caves Retaliate 1, so every time you attack a cave you take a damage on a creature, but that doesn't feel necessary quite yet. The original print of Circles of Power were broken because you just stayed on there, and you would just spend 2 action points to just do a damage to the opponent's cave. Now
that's what I was envisioning about what happened, but
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it's any different, but here's the difference, right? So if I successfully kept this here for 5 turns, okay, you're now in cave collapse. Not only have I not lost mana advantage, But you'll take Cave Collapse, and I'll do a damage every turn.
And all the while, I'll have to be slow. If by some miracle I've taken out these two, I'll have to be moving slowly over here to try and...
And by then, you are dead. This is what it looks like by then. Whereas if my creature dies, you are only taking that 1 damage per turn. So there are actually hidden comeback mechanics. Typically what happens is a player will have a hand and they know they can't fight on the board, so they'll go for cave damage and then try and outlast the opponent while they bleed out. Or players will both be really confident in their hand and they'll fight in the center of the board like we did for an hour, and then someone just slightly pulls ahead.
I can't believe I was an hour. Obviously, it was slow because I didn't know the rules, but how long does an average game take normally?
That's a good question. Me and my chief playtester, we take ages because we've played a lot of the game, and we're the kind of people where we want to optimize everything. We'll sit there for 15 minutes and work out if we should go left or right.
You'd be terrible chess players. You get slapped at that time all the time.
Well, I have actually considered putting a timer in if necessary to limit the length of games, but we take a while, and it's not uncommon for our games to take 2 or 3 hours. It can go faster for sure. You can definitely just go a bit YOLO with it, but we're the type of people where we have time, so we just sort of take time. And the nice thing about Tabletopia is if we both control W'd right now, we could still return to this game later.
Oh.
It saves, so you don't have to finish a game there and then, which is nice.
Because I think it's testament to the word you use, the depth of this game, in that I'm normally quite a fast person. So the reason I like Yu-Gi-Oh so much is that obviously it's really fast, and the problem I have in Magic is it's just far too slow. Whereas in this game, I felt like the action, maybe it was this particular match, but the action started fast enough that I didn't feel like, I was chilling there waiting for mana to build up and so on and so forth. Yeah,
you do get into action fast typically. Of course, there are certain hand layouts where both players just sort of go, I can't really do anything, and you're just going to have to wait till you draw something. And to that end, we actually saw both the cards that kind of deal with those situations a bit. So, hang on. Let me just get rid of these, and let me find this. Every deck has these 2 cards in them. And that seems like it might be uncreative, but I argue the opposite, because these solve a couple of problems. If you get a handful of expensive creatures, Enchantment of Mana offers an opportunity to play those creatures and thus encourage action. If you draw mana for cards instead, you have the opportunity to spend some mana to find some cheaper creatures, thus encouraging action. If you have more mana than cards you can use mana for cards to find more cards, encourages action. If you have more cards than mana you can use, Enchantment of Mana gives you mana, thus encouraging action. It's a very careful design that I thoughtfully implemented. Also, a fun fact, Mana for Cards actually shows the back of the original design of the backs of Caves and Creatures cards.
Oh.
I never actually updated that, so it's kind of a funny little relic. I think the new version looks a lot better, personally. Whoops. I think this back looks far better. What I'll do real quick is I'll just reset the board, and then if you want, you can take a look through the other decks real quick and just see what kinds of cards they have. What do you think overall, in terms of, is there anything you really hated about the game? Anything you really loved?
So, I'm trying to just balance it, because obviously I did lose, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm not just being salty.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing to say is that I had fun. Because that's quite important. I might not be able to explain why, but I did have fun, so that's important.
Yeah.
Let's try to think. Not really, because the fact that I had a bad draw, but that happens in any card game. That's just that's just kind of the way it is.
You actually drew kind of all right. I think I just drew better.
That's what I mean. It's not anyone's fault. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to rack my brains of things I didn't like.
I'm open to criticism. Don't worry. I've got an entire list of stuff on the playtest list that's to be changed because I know it wasn't perfect.
Trust, I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass. I think yeah, I'm. It's less me reserving judgment. It's more that I just don't have a lot to say at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that was your first game. You're gonna probably want to play more to get a fair idea, and you've only seen the one deck. Here are the other decks up here if you want to take a quick look. I mean, I've literally like completely reworked insects, more or less, because they were a problematic design. The original print of Inns had 1 movement, 1 health, cost 0 mana, and to offset that, he had global deal 1 damage to the opponent creature, and then heal one of yours for 1, and that was just utterly broken, so I just had to rework the whole deck. Because the deck was completely balanced around that. Like, the deck was kind of mediocre, underwhelming, and Inns would provide all that power. But I had to rework it entirely because it was just bad design.
The unique mechanic is Dino Evolution, which slowly evolve your dinosaurs into greater creatures. I think you... Cause most of my cards activate pretty quickly. It was because... Well, I guess, to be fair, I didn't get the chance to build up my acidic one.
Yeah, when I say slowly, it's like a fairly relative term. But dinosaurs are much more powerful than average for mana costs anyway.
Sea Dwellers.
The best deck right now is probably... maybe Birds, probably Sea Dwellers. But nothing is, like, horribly broken. Except for maybe Demons, they need more playtesting. I reworked a lot of them recently, so I'm not sure.
It would be a deck that pulls ahead. Creatures on demand, leader. Combos.
Has that word piqued your interest?
I mean, that's one of the things I've always liked about.
Take a look at some of the demon cards if you want. They're the most complicated deck, but given how well you piloted dinosaurs on your first game, you probably get away alright with demons. If you want to like spread cards out, you can like roll your mouse wheel up, and then you can take out multiple at once.
I was gonna say, that'd be easier.
Yeah, so I'll do this for you. Like, whoops, you can like do this, roll this, pull these out, boom. You can see a bunch of them.
Demonth of Ruin.
It's pronounced Demonth of Ruin because it's like a demon and it's also the month of ruin. I'm terrible, I know.
Counter edition. Are you still recording, by the way?
Yeah, but I can edit this stuff out if that's preferable to you. It's not a problem.
I don't mind. I was gonna say I don't mind this kind of just banter, as it were, just being in the video. So what's it for? Is it like an intro video for the game or an advertisement?
This is just going to be an example of like teaching a beginner the game, but you're obviously a very competent beginner because you've played like other card games and whatnot. It kind of serves as a good example, I feel.
So you're really saying you're going to out me on the internet like you did yesterday?
No, it's you played well, and like I'm the dev, I have a lot of hours in this game, so you wouldn't be expected to win, and I drew the better hand. Like, I feel like you didn't play much worse than me, even. Like, you made a couple of mistakes because you're not accustomed to the game. So Demon's thing is, like, they're based around exiling, so their leader, like, spends an action point to exile cards, and then your cards benefit from being exiled. So, like, Nether Recruiter here, when it's exiled, you can add a card from your exiled zone that lists exile counter in its card text to your hand, except itself. And then once 5 or more cards are exiled, it doesn't cost an action point. So once you get up and rolling, demons can generate a lot of power and advantage.
War Demongerer.
Yeah, that's a pun on Warmongerer and War Demon. So it's a War Demongerer.
10 or more total cards. You can cast this card face up and pay 3 less mana. Wow.
Yeah, 2, 4, 8, 1 for 7 mana is cheap. It's very powerful.
And when Dame is...
That's pronounced Deem. Deem monsters.
Sorry, when Deem is rejuvenating, he's treated as creature as exile, so you would count towards that particular...
No, not exactly, because he's not literally a card that's exiled. It's like when he enters Rejuvenation, it counts as if a card was exiled for stuff like see if I can find it real quick. The wording on that could maybe be a little bit better. Come on, surely I can find something here.
That's an interesting card.
Surely, are they really the last? Okay, yeah. So account for stuff like the Totem of the Nether, which is the shrine here. It's like it would place an exile counter on it.
You can remove 3 exile counters from this card. Draw. You ever played the Final Fantasy trading card game?
Yes, I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
It was the kind of card game where it had a lot of potential, and they didn't meet its potential.
It just, like, as a whole, I enjoyed it. It just weirded me out. Like you have to like, break cards to get mana.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. I felt like the Final Fantasy card game was them trying too hard to be unique. If you know what I mean.
What I like about this is, there are 0 mana cost cards, and they're not crazy. Like, for example, what was that card the one that gave me like 3 mana, but
Wisp? Oh, you mean Soul Harvesting Crypt?
no, the one I got at the beginning. But once I use it, I can't use anything else for the turn.
Oh, Enchantment of Mana, this one.
Yeah, like that, that's useful, and you feel like you're doing something. You can play it, but it's not broken because basically sacrifice a turn for it.
Yeah, it's kind of broken turn 1, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with giving players the God Hand occasionally. Like, I'm okay with you getting, yes, this is an amazing card to have turn 1. Because you gotta have cards like that. You gotta have cards that are just like, yes, I got this card. That's alright. I don't think that's a problem at all.
But yeah.
You thinking you might play this game again?
Well, I was actually going to say, I'd be down to play it again.
Nice.
I mean, I'll probably stick with dinos until I, actually kind of get more, accustomed.
For what it's worth, I feel like you could definitely win, like, any game. Because you played that super well. Again, just very minor mistakes, and first time playing, it's going to happen. There's going to be things you just don't see because you're not used to maneuvering on the board.
Yeah, I just don't want to, I don't want to run before I can walk.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Dinosaurs are definitely the simplest deck. Dragons and Sea Dwellers are probably the next simplest. Dragons, use creatures with affinities. So like you see here, there's this Divine Sea Serpent. This benefits from Ocean. Or there's this Void Dragon that benefits from Void. There's stuff like that. Yeti benefits from Tundra. That's mostly the Dragons thing. And then they have stuff that uses treasure counters, like Treasure Hoarder builds treasure counters, Pot of Gold makes treasure counters, and then there's cards that benefit from treasure counters, such as... Come on.
Is that Pot of Gold art like a Photoshop that you've made?
PowerPoint 2010. All of this was taken either... all this art is free to use, and it's all been... The card template in all this is all done in PowerPoint 2010.
Wow. Why PowerPoint of all the tools to use?
I like it. There's a statue of gold. This is a kind of unique card because it's gold, because there's 4 Draconic statues and all their backs match what colour they are on the front. It's a thematic thing. Okay, there we go. Finally found a card that benefits from treasure counters. So there's a couple of cards that benefit from treasure counters. So affinities and treasure counters, like Dragon's unique thing. It's like Arena of Scales. You can reduce incoming damage if you have 3 treasure counters on it. And it's one of the few instances in the game of being able to reduce damage to 0. Dragon Treasury can draw cards, and it can prevent downsides of Dragon's abilities. So like Dragons have some powerful abilities, but they have downsides tied to them. Drag, for example, he can make the next dragon that attacks this turn have +1 attack, and it takes 1 damage at the end of combat, and Dragon Treasury can make it not take that 1 damage.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of what the dragons do. They're quite an aggressive, boardy, ignore downsides for powerful effects kind of deck, but if you don't manage to do those specific things, then you can end up in a bad spot. Like if you don't play the right affinity creature, for example, you won't benefit from the board, and then you end up in a tough spot. Stuff like that. Although dragons are... I don't know, I keep thinking dragons are underpowered, but then, like, we playtest it and they just get a good hand and then they just kind of stomp the game, so...
Yeah. Well, you know, like we were talking about the other day, like, it's hard to know whether something's broken or useless until you actually try it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, like, there's a meme theories, but I doubt they wanted Cienko to be that bad, you know? Like,
Yeah, of course, yeah, there's no way that they wanted that. Dragons have received many buffs as of late, so they are in a much better spot. For example, I gave them this card, which is really nice of them because they do really want to find a shrine early, and this card finds shrines from the deck. Some of their mana costs got reduced, like this Rock Drake here was 8 mana, it's now 7. I'm playtesting Drag having 3 attack at the moment rather than 2 to make him a threat, and it's proved to be quite effective. But dragons do have some powerful stuff.
I think my standout favorite card from that game was Choisaurus.
Really? Why? Because he's so powerful.
I mean, undeniably he's powerful. I don't know, there's something about it. It felt rewarding to get those counters on him.
Yeah.
You know, like, it felt like a good investment. Like, obviously this is, you know, it's a noob talking, so take it a pinch of salt. But the can't remember it, but there was a Dino card that, like, if I got the counters on it, I got like +1 movement, and I was not really impressed with that. But
Yeah, it's an underwhelming ability. That's because the original print of Triceratops had 3 movement base, and it was a bit too good. So what I did was I nerfed its movement by 1, but gave the player the ability to give it that movement back. That's why it's a bit of an underwhelming ability. But dinosaurs were designed to be simple, and that's why they have a lot of very simple stuff like that. That's why they have +1 armor for an ability on Stegosaurus here, or +1 movement per counter on Deltadromeus here. They were very intentionally designed to be basic. Like Jurassic Egg is pretty simple. Build up 3 counters, suicide it, bring back a dinosaur. Mechasaur just heals a lot. Dilophosaurus just does damage over time. Diplodocus just has great stats. Spinosaurus gains movement. Chokesaurus is kind of one of the more complicated, but Euplocephalus just does damage back to the opponent when it's attacked.
I'd be interested to see, like, Jurassic Egg used, like, quote unquote right, because I think this game I used it as like a meat shield pretty much.
Yeah, you kind of got into an unfortunate spot where you kind of got it right as I gained the advantage, and that's kind of awkward. In like an even-ish game, Jurassic Egg can turn the game because, for example, you can bring back Mechasaur, and it can't gain counters, but playing this for 1 mana is incredible. This is a very powerful card for 5 mana, let alone for 1.
So just to recap, Jurassic Egg Dino Evolution 3, is that 3 mana?
3 Dino Evolution counters.
3 Dino Evolution counters.
So you build up 3 counters here, and then you kill it, and then you bring back a creature. But an important thing to note about Jurassic Egg is that it can move. So I need to clear the board here for this, actually. Just get rid of these, and get rid of these. So, like, I can say I've got my Mechasaur in my grave zone over here. So I can get my 3rd evolution counter. I can move my Jurassic Egg, kill it, bring back my Mechasaur, and then my Mechasaur can immediately act. So Jurassic Egg can be very powerful, but you have to meet this investment point. You have to invest in it, and
It's going to take at least 3 turns, yeah.
hence the slowly build up, slowly evolve dinosaurs into greater creatures.
And I assume that, like, both, like, right now and Plans for the Future, Wizard is going to be the only card that applies Dino tokens?
No, there's Counter Magician. I'm trying to see if I can spot him now amongst this clusterfuck I've created.
He was down here, wasn't he?
He was there somewhere. I know I grabbed him at some point as Mana Magician. Ah, here he is. Here's a Counter Magician. So Counter Magician can place one of any kind of counter onto the board. So you can actually, like, and dinosaurs do have this, so you can very feasibly, like, play 2 Dino Evolution counters in 1 turn. Very feasibly. Another interesting, clever design about Counter Magician that I came up with was, I realised that a card like this is not always going to be able to put counters on stuff. That's why I gave him 3 movement, 1 attack. Because even if you end up in a situation where you have no counters, you can still move him and attack things.
And yeah, it's not, like, the movement attack isn't high enough to be broken, and he's only got 1 HP, so he's going to be like a one and done kind of.
Yeah, but it's still useful. I've taken great care to make it very rare that cards are useless. It does happen, just because of the nature of the game.
Yeah. I mean, having a disenchantment when your opponent doesn't have any enchantments is, but you can say that about Heavy Storm, which is obviously not a bad card.
Yeah, and like Disenchantment, this probably needs to be buffed to only cost 1 mana, but the thing is, like, if you think about your Soul Harvesting Crypt that game, that was effectively worth 7 mana. If I disenchantment it immediately, it's not. And so disenchantment becomes like really high value, so this kind of gives an answer to like turn 1 shrines that could otherwise be problematic, but your opponent can still get good hands with turn 1 shrines and stuff. Like, I just made the game so it's very hard for cards to be useless. Like, how many cards did you have that game that felt useless? Like, okay, disenchantment and draw because you're in a losing position, so 2? Any others?
I think, well, you took the words out of my mouth, pretty much just those 2. The rest, like, they didn't seem like they're going to turn the game around, but there's always a use, so I was like, well, it can be a meat shield, or it can at least do some damage.
Yeah, of course, like, the thing is with mirror matches especially, one player getting the upper hand, it's a mirror match. It's very hard to make a comeback in a mirror match, because different decks interact with each other in different ways, obviously, but in a mirror match, they're going to interact with each other in very similar ways. It's not going to be identical due to the fact that there's no duplicates, but they're still going to interact in much the same way, so you're going to do the exact same thing I'm doing, so if I've got a lead, this thing I'm doing is going to win. And dinosaurs suffer from behind anyway, because, again, they struggle to put multiple creatures on the board, so you struggle to clear the board, because you don't have enough action points. So that's kind of a weakness of the dinosaurs, but they're very good at getting ahead. If you ever play dinosaurs against another deck, like, you'll find that Brachiosaur is a fucking nightmare. This thing is very hard to take down. Like, let me just grab some random dragon creature. Fuck it, I'm just going to take Frostworm. Let's compare these 2 cards, right? Frostworm is a 2 movement, 3 attack, 8 health, 0 armor creature for 8 mana. Brachio is a 2 movement, 3 attack, 7 health, 2 armor creature. So let's have these do a 1v1. So Frostworm attacks first, right? 1 damage. Brachio attacks. 2 damage. 1 damage. 2 damage. 1 damage. 2 damage. Sorry, no, this should be 3 damage. Sorry, let me do it again. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, dead.
Frostworm.
I mean, Frostworm can theoretically do 2 with the affinity, but this costs 1 more mana. Even if you gave it that +1 attack every turn. So let's go 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, dead. Whoops. Dead. And that's like a perfect scenario for the Frostworm. And it costs 1 more mana. Like, that's how powerful dinosaur creatures are, so they're great at getting ahead. But they suffer from behind.
Well, there's a lot of depth to this.
Yeah, there is. I feel like I genuinely feel like this is a fantastic game, and it's the sort of game that as you play more, you see more and more of the depth. Like, when you end up playing humans, and like your best play is to play a creature and walk it over Tundra to draw a fresh card because it sets up a play in your hand. Stuff like that. It's like, the thing is, the reason why I think this game is really good is, in Yu-Gi-Oh, you have a lot of automatic must-do moves. Reinforcement of the army, for one. You must play that card. If you draw it, you have to play it. Pot of Greed, if it was unbanned, you have to play it. I don't know modern Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'm just going to go with an old school example, but Stellar Knights. I don't know if you know Stellar Knights, but Dinette.
I wasn't playing in that era.
Yeah, Stellar Knights have like their own creature that when it's summoned in any way, you just rotor. Like, it's literally rotor, but for Stellar Knights, you have to play it because it's a 3+1. There's not many must-do moves in this game. Like, the closest thing to a must-do move is, like, you kind of have to play your shrines turn 1 because of value, and you kind of have to play an enchantment and mana turn 1. Aside from that, there's not many must-do moves. And that's kind of what I like. That's why I think this game is really good, because you're constantly making decisions. Anyway, I'm going to call it there, because I've got work tomorrow, and it's stupid o'clock in the morning. But thanks for playing. Really enjoyed it.
Man. Like, thanks for kind of letting me know about it. And yeah, I'll be down to play again.
Awesome. Next time, maybe you can play against Tyler. Tyler's my chief playtester, and he has a slightly positive win rate against me. Although I do stuff for the sake of playtesting rather than winning, so you know.
Yeah, great, man. Anytime.
Awesome. Well, have a good night.
Right, GG, you too. Peace.
Sleep well.